I was originally going to scrap this video, but I decided I'll combine two ideas into one. It'll be okay. So for the last while, I've been talking over beta stuff on the game, you know, the introduction of Animal Jam. We saw it 15 years ago, old facts about the game and stuff like that. That's kind of been the main focus of the channel last month because Animal Jam is celebrating its 15th anniversary, of course. And a good few years ago now, I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago. 6 or 7? Okay. But 6 or 7 years ago, I made this video. It was called the first items of Animal Jam or something, or the very first items created in the game and stuff. In that video, I went over the first 10 items that were made for the game and introduced into the game. Now, this was data or information passed along to me back then. I don't remember how I got it. I'm not gonna lie to you because I didn't credit the person in the video, but today we're gonna be talking about that, and then also just items in general that have old variants to them that don't exist now. I kind of talked about that recently on a TikTok. Yes, guys, I do TikTok because some of you are surprised to see me in comment section sometimes. I talked about it on a TikTok because Animal Jam has been re-releasing some of those old variants, but there is actually other few variants of old items that still didn't get re-released and are still essentially lost, if you will. But first, quick little intermission. Don't ask why I'm on a non-member account. It'll make sense in like a month time. You'll see that video then. But, do you like pin catchers giveaway? You can enter in the comments down below or in the description in the video down below. All you gotta do, subscribe with notifications on, leave a like on the video, drop a comment down below after you finished it. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, let's just get into that video. Whatever this person's talking about now. So I guess it's best fitting I talk about this in Jamart clothing, where it all started. We'll just go from the first item ever to introduce into the game, or added into the game's files, it seems like. It was the top hat. It's like very not too surprising, to be honest with you. Top hats are everywhere, okay? I'm pretty sure they're one of the most recolored items, with a second to spikes, of course. This item was introduced long before everything else. We can kind of tell this because of old alpha screenshots of the game, like developer screenshots of the game before the game even entered beta, which we'll get into those a little bit later on, because there is some variants of the top hat that are still not in the game nowadays, even with all the recolors over the years. But I guess I'll just quickly go through the other list rather than just like counting it down slowly. But the second item was the wings, the third item was Viking helmets, the fourth was skull helmets, the fifth was tiki masks, very cool. The sixth was our beloved necklace that everybody loves to make jokes about. The seventh was beards, which would become one of the rarest items in the entire game alongside top hats at a later point. The eighth was star capes, which is kind of surprising to see actually. The ninth is royal capes, one of my favorite items for the back anyway. And the 10th is the blanket, not the worn blanket, but just the normal looking blanket that I do not see that much of nowadays, to be honest. And I mean, I could do this for den items as well. I think I did include that in the video, but from what I was told back then, it was kind of weird with how den items are, because they deleted a lot of early den items that they had as concepts or implemented in the game early on. And that's why we saw in the beta party, for example, in the beta party, we saw like a bunch of these kind of vase and jar items. Like these would have been the items that they probably had early on in the game's files that they just removed for one reason or another. Maybe they thought it was repetitive. I don't know. But these kind of style items, you can even still see them somewhat around Jamal Township, or should I say around like Jamart clothing. Like this radio right here, it's been in the games for 15 years, and the pots and everything, they've been in these stores for the last 15 years, and we're only getting them as den items now because they're being re-implemented. So a lot of the items here you see in the stores here, like the telescope, the jars, the fire pit, the cactus here, the mats and the pillows, bird feeders, speakers, mirror statues, all these kind of things, like these would have been the first den items as well. And they also had their respective variants that were never re-implemented as well. But I think this was because the variants of a lot of the old items kind of looked weird in terms of quality, because what they would do is they would just plop it into Photoshop and recolor it, not kind of actually like retexturizing it, if that makes sense. Like it would look really bad quality because they would just recolor it and then throw it back into the game. I know there's like some screenshots on the Animal Jam Wiki that still show those. If they are still up, I'll throw them on screen as I'm talking about it, of course. But next, I do want to talk about these items here. These have been releasing over the last few days, weeks. I've been really excited about these coming out, as I talked about it in the update video. But these are pretty much old beta variants of items restored. So they finally did this after years of people wanting these. But oddly enough, they didn't do every single old variant of items that people know about anyway, because there is more, you know, unreleased or deleted variants of top hats, for example. Don't get me wrong, these are awesome. You know, the green top hat, I'll throw the screenshot where it originally comes from. This is a little bit lighter than the original. I'm pretty sure that's because 2 different times hackers showed off their own custom green top hat, and both separate times they got the variants wrong. So I don't know if Animal Jam just took that as inspiration or what, but this is what we ended up getting. The white tiki mask, I know people went insane over when the screenshot was first discovered way back in like 2012 or 2013. I think that's when people started finding it. People were trying to like crack beta accounts back then, trying to search for this item, not knowing that it didn't exist in the game at the time. The beta wings were also a really cool variant. I don't think many people were hyped up about this, purely because there's like very similar variants in the game already, even with the normal store variant. Still very cool though, and it goes really well with the tiki mask. And then the rhino helmet as well, not too much of a popular item, very similar variant already in the game, so people probably didn't really care much about the beta rhino, but I did, and that's what matters. But I think as well there was like brown gazelles. I talked about this in the TikTok that I referenced near the start of the video. These would have been pretty cool, but you know, it's very hard to tell the difference. And I think somebody mentioned to me that the koala's pattern had like a cheetah pattern to it that's not available in the game. I don't know if that's true or not, someone correct me in the comments. But also there was like a unicorn horn, like a black and white unicorn horn, kind of an inverse version of one of the variants that we ended up getting. Not too sure why they decided that, but there is like very similar variants, even with like a dark green inner rim, I guess, for the unicorn horns that is very like semi-faithful to this original black and white variant. And of course as well, the black and gray top hat as the last mention here. I think this is one that a lot of people would be disappointed about them not adding alongside these other 4 beta items they just re-released. It is pretty cool. I mean, I can get why they might have not done it, considering it's quite similar to the normal default top hat, but if any of these other beta variant items could be released again, I'd definitely choose this one, even if it was just another variant of the already green beta top hat in stores right now. But other than that, the only other beta items that seem to have survived, I guess, Animal Jam's early testing would be the 3 beta tiara sets. So the regular beta tiara, the milky tiara, and the pearly tiara. Pearly tiara definitely has some question marks around it because there is no screenshot or documentation supporting the fact that it existed in the beta testing period of the game, also considering it's only 2 of a kind. And I'm pretty sure the milky tiara is also in pretty high question, but there's too many of those that have existed in the game that it's like pretty likely that it existed in the beta. And then the beta tiara, there's straight up screenshots of it being sold in the beta. And same with like the beta hood and the beta blanket. I think those are the only 2 items that actually hold the beta name that were actually sold in the beta. You know, people just tend to throw the beta tag at every item that seems to be extremely rare. You know, stuff like the beta creature and the beta eye, they weren't sold in the beta. Same with the beta elf that was sold in 2012. Okay, that was very long after the game was established, by the way. So it's kind of funny that is called a beta elf or a beta eye or a beta creature. But I'm trying to think of more variants. The beta homemade wings, these are very slightly different. It's just like a slightly different hue in green. This wasn't found out until 2020, like 10 years after the game. People didn't realize that there was a difference in between those. They're not worth a whole lot now, purely because there's like a lot of them in the game. I assume it was like changed sometime before and after they left stores at some point, way after the beta ended. That's probably why there's a lot more of them in the game. But the only last item that has beta variants, from what I know, that still exists in the game is the skullys. Now the skullys is a whole particular case on why that even got re-released in the first place. I made a video about that like years ago, talking about how Animal Jam was essentially forced into re-releasing that item. Kind of a funny story, but really terrible situation for them, to say the least. But when the skullys re-released the original variants of the item, item weren't re-released alongside with it. From what I know, they updated the original skullys in the files as well to get rid of the old appearance to match the newer appearance, but they still retained their original colors within the game's, you know, inner workings, I guess. You know, the kind of white and blue variant, the pink variant, and I'm pretty sure there was like a cream one and something like that. I don't remember. It's been years since I've seen them. I do know they were, you know, accidentally gotten into the game in like 2013 at one point because people were calling up Animal Jam HQ for them, and then, you know, we saw them again like in 2016 or 2017 through a hacker, and then, you know, they got re-released due to popular demand because people were like, well, you guys lied. You guys still have them in the game. You guys said you deleted them, but you didn't. Yeah, the original variants of the skullys still exist in the game, I guess, but Animal Jam, when choosing to re-release them, they didn't choose to release the original variants to them. And you know what? That's pretty okay. You know, the variants we ended up getting were a lot better. I think if I were to choose any other item that could have gotten re-released amongst this set, it definitely would have been the skullys anyway, because those beta skully variants, I think they tie in pretty well with these items anyway. But as for why these items were removed, they were probably just testing variants. That was legitimately it. They showed up in alpha stage testing, I guess, screenshots of like an in-house test with all WoWworks developers. So nobody in the beta testing period of the game, when it was out in public, saw these items. We didn't know about these in the beta testing period of the game. So they most likely were deleted after Animal Jam already kind of solidified what kind of variants they wanted to actually feature in stores when opening the beta testing period up to the public, however long after the alpha testing period was on the game. That being said though, I think it's gonna wrap it up here for this video. I do have probably 2, maybe 3 other videos relating to beta stuff going out next, but after that, I'm probably gonna end the celebrations there, and I'll have talked about everything I wanted to talk about beta stuff on the game for another 5 or 10 years. Yeah, let's go wrap it up here. Big thank you to the members for supporting the channel as always. I greatly appreciate it. There will be a new member video out probably soon. Do keep your eyes peeled for that. But if you want to join and have your name featured at the end of the video and get access to exclusive content, then hit the join button down below. It should be beside the subscribe button that you should have already pressed. Let's be real. Yeah, you'll see me again in a few days time or whatever with another video, so book it on your calendars and all that. I have a few projects I'm working on right now that are gonna take a bit of time, but hopefully they'll be cool when they do come out. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.